Good morning. It is 1:46 a.m. I cannot sleep. I've already edited this video and now I'm going to get out of bed, turn on my computer, and come narrate a video about my stick and poke process. This footage is of an attempt. I put the stencil down, ended up not liking it, but trying to demonstrate some good practices, cleaning the area and stuff, putting some stencil stuff down first, letting it air dry a bit and get tacky, and then putting my stencil down, applying pressure for a few seconds, and letting it air dry for several minutes, 10 or 15, before moving forward. Now, I decided I didn't like how that was sitting on my leg, and so I made a stencil of what I already have down. I've got my Memento Mori tombstone there, and then my Chaos Star that's up next to my knee, and put that on some tracing paper, and then grabbed all my old sketches of this design and tried to modify it so it fit a little bit better and would sort of bring these two tattoos together, helping finish this part of my leg sleeve. I wanted this wizard down lower on my leg. This is actually an homage to two of my mom's tattoos that she has lower on her shins, but I just couldn't reach it. I went to a couple different tattoo parlors and kind of like put out feelers to see if I had a professional in my neighborhood that I wanted to put it down for me, but I didn't vibe with anybody, so I got impatient. This was supposed to be my third project. Now it's my seventh. 8th if you're counting the one I did on my buddy Roy. Up at the top is actually my mom's initials. I had several earlier designs where her name was either embroidered in the cap, or her nickname was written out in this smoke. But this character is Mr. Wizard. He was introduced to me when I was 19. My mom had this character in her life when she was 19. It's very, very cool thing, and I've done art of him in the past. I've done like a print of him, and so this is sort of, it's got all the elements in it. I've got some vines down at the bottom, which is from one of my mom's tattoos, and some waves from another one of my mom's tattoos. And so yes, earth, water, and some fire because he's smoking a pipe. And I don't know, I think I'm very clever. Anyways, if you are checking this out for tattoo advice, do not poke this large of a tattoo. I run into a problem down the line where I can't actually reach below the hand that's holding the pipe. There is his right hand below it, and I end up just totally omitting that because I really can't reach that part of my leg. It's so hard. You're poking at such an extreme angle, you're kind of guessing where the pokes are landing. So my lines are pretty rough down there. And if you look closely at my skeleton on the left in photos elsewhere, the shins are also kind of rough on the skeleton because it's hard to reach your own leg. Original point though, do not do a poke this big. Most stick and poke artists will stick to a design that's around, I don't know, a dollar coin size, nothing too extravagant. This is me legitimately trying to come up with simpler designs. And I cannot. I don't know why I do this to myself, but here we go. I think I spent 4 hours. This was really late one evening. I started around 11:30, I think. 10:30? 10:45. And then I kept going till around 2:30 in the morning. And my hip just made me stop. I was sitting in my desk chair with a towel over it, and everything's got plastic wrap over it to be sanitary. Or at least as close to sanitary as I can get in my own room. Of course, everything, wiped down with alcohol first, then you wrap it. But did several passes. I'm using a 9-round liner, and it takes better. I'm running into this phenomenon where I feel like there's almost like just the ink doesn't want to run all the way down the needle, and this is like the runniest ink that I have. I have a bottle of Dynamic that I want to try with my next tattoo, something small. Maybe I'm going to put like a wasp or a spider or something somewhere to fill in a gap sometime soon and test out a different brand of ink, because it seems like a lot of professionals really like Dynamic brand. So yes, the hardest part of this tattoo is being in the flow state and being aware like, the bottom of my foot is tingling. My hip is screaming at me, and you're just sort of like above the physical pain that you're feeling, and it helps distract you from the pokes in your leg, but it's really like being like, okay, soon I have to take a break so that I can rest my leg, because it's going to fall asleep completely. Earlier on with the skeleton, I did that a handful of times, just straight up my leg went totally numb, and I stood up to try to get circulation back, and like felt like a monopod, and I had to like throw my dead leg back and hope it caught my weight. It was terrifying. Just couldn't feel anything. Stretches are important. Stretch before you do stupid shit to your body. Care to some degree. But here we go. This is about the edge of what I can reach. So, the lower part of my leg is open. I want to get the kanji for the word yokai on like my foot next to my skeleton. If anybody wants to put that down for me, because I can't reach it. And got a little bit of space on my outer ankle that I am not going to be able to reach, which kind of sucks. Maybe one day if I have a machine I'll be able to reach it, because I won't be straining my stupid long-ass legs for as long as I am. I always lose, I'm being honest with you, YouTube, I always lose little bits of details in my stencil, and I don't mean to. I try to focus on what lines are important. With this wizard, I lost some of the lines of his fingers, which I think were pretty vital, and I have to go back in. You know, there's going to be lines in his beard, and I'm telling myself, I'll do that with shading, you know, I'll make a gray wash later on, and when I fill that in, I'll sort of imply the lines of the hair of his mustache and his beard, but they're pretty significant ones, like the line dividing it looks like he's got one fat-ass index finger right now, and there's supposed to be a divide there. Some of the water that I put down on the second sitting ends up looking kind of weak. But yeah, so as I stated, this was about 4 hours in the middle of the night, because I'm insane, but I'd been meaning to do this for about 5 months now, and I'm very glad that it's down. I missed a lot of little details. I really like the little swirl that was on his shoulder right there, and I have to go back and add that in. And originally I had more detail in his hat. Maybe I'll put more smoke. And this one definitely is going to get some color to really make those like elements pop. Fire's going to get orange. The leaves are going to get green. So my hip started screaming at me, and I'm like, well, that's that. I drew the line right here, and I stopped. I just gave up on my stencil below that. And what I did is I gave myself about a 36-hour break, and then I came back, took another stencil of what I had worked with, and as you will see, came back in and finished this guy up to the best of my ability, at least to get the lines down. Probably be a month or two before we go in and get some of that good shading in, which I am still procrastinating on my Star of Chaos. My float is like 4/5 done. 1 or 2 more sittings it'll be done. My skeleton's tombstone definitely deserves 1 or 2 more sittings. I should be finishing things before I start new ones, but I get so excited. I did go and see my mom today, and I had every intention of telling her about this, but it was one of those days where I was just kind of chilling at her house. I made lunch, I watched her Amazon Prime, and she worked from home and like did shit she had to do. We weren't really like hanging out or talking, and I'm like, okay, it'd be weird timing. So we just went to the Daiso, like you do when you're, you know, a mom with their millennial, middle-aged, nearly freaking child that still dresses like they shop at Hot Topic. Stick and poke. This is a bad habit I have. I I go as long as I can, but then I'll smear the ink with my other hand, and that just doesn't seem sanitary. I shouldn't really be touching areas like that. It's tough early on trying to not smear your stencil. It's nice later on when you can, again, get into that flow state and just fill in the whole damn thing one more time. It was really satisfying. It's almost like completing a page of a coloring book to feel like you colored everything in. One thing that's really frustrating to a degree is like it always feels like you didn't get very much down, but the lines do thicken up. Anyways, so like I told you guys, God, I did so many versions of this wizard. Not gonna lie to you, there are more than this, but those were like the last 10 of them. But comparing different versions of the wizard to pick the elements I like the most, I also wanted those elements to be balanced. So I'm using my little light box to make sort of a frame so that the water and the leaves can be equal on both sides to the best of my ability. And then, like I said, kind of copying the ones I like from earlier drawings. Decided to mark them down in a different color so I could differentiate. And then the pencil marks are just me deciding what lines I didn't need. I am trying to only poke what's really necessary. I still trace by hand because I like suffering. Decided to trace some of what's already on there to give myself a reference point to like line it up. Got slightly confusing later on because there were extra lines, but made it easier to line up overall. And like I said, 36 hours later, I went and I sat down. I went and I sat down in my living room, which was much nicer. I got to listen to birds and stuff like that instead of the neighbor kids screaming, and put the rest of this down. I also decided to go back over the lines I had done the couple days before, and it hurt. It was a little bit more painful. It's the first time I've done that, like poking fresh lines, but it wasn't the end of the world. We'll see how much rougher the healing process is. I'm itchy right now, but honestly, I'm more itchy everywhere I shaved. Like, I shaved down the chaos in case I decided to touch up those lines, and like, I feel like I have razor burn really bad. That's bothering me more than anything. But knock on wood. We'll see what happens in a couple days. So now it's about to be 2 a.m. I'm gonna go get some sleep, and when the sun's up, I'll go get some footage of this healed few days, show you what that looks like, and then upload this. Thank you so much for checking out my videos. As always, I hope you're being safe with your stick and pokes, and I will see you soon. Tag me on Instagram because I want to see your work. Thank you, bye. So once again, thank you so much for checking out this vlog. This is like part 11, and it has been documenting my learning process. Sooner rather than later, I would like to start straight up educational videos, but this has been me figuring out how to tattoo on myself. So thank you for your eyeball time. Thank you for listening to me talk to myself and putting up with the number of times that I say I appreciate you. And be safe out there, and I will see you in a couple of weeks. Bye-bye. 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 Oh my god, that's annoying. I'm gonna stop now. I'm sorry. I apologize. Okay.